Okay, welcome everybody to the Reflections on the 12 Steps. Just a friendly announcement, this is not an AA meeting. This is just one member's view on the exact nature of the wrong as described on page 64 of the Big Book and the solutions contained within. This is not an all-share meeting, though shares there will be, but actually a question and answer meeting with Paul. I didn't choose a reading today, but I would like to talk about step 11, and I thought perhaps the most tangible thing I can do there is share about my own recent experiences. So recently I finished step 9, and after finishing step 9 through a set of circumstances, I noticed that there was this real moral self that was sort of uploaded from doing all of the step work, and that had to be seen through as well. And the way I saw through that was actually, through seeing that intuition is higher up the hierarchy than the moral self. And that was like very clear from a certain instance. What happened after that was sort of a real feeling of that self, that moral self being removed, and my emotions becoming really loud. And it always seems that for when negative emotions or difficult emotions arise, there's sort of this self that shoots off of that and wants to be built as a result of those negative emotions, almost like protecting, like sort of like a protective mechanism of some sort. And what happened this last time specifically was that it was a self that tried to do non-duality rather than just being. And I heard someone say, like some other contemporary teacher, that the summum of spirituality is to become fully human again. And that was really like the axis through which I tried to look at, like, embodying that non-duality and coming from that place of full acceptance. But I got really, slapped the shit out of me to say in yeah, not so nice wording, but it's always the same thing. I love what you always say, like that you pick up that needle and put it back on the right spot of the vinyl or whatever. And that's really what happened again, that there's really nothing I can do, and non-duality is not a doing thing, but is a being thing. And same with emotions. I am that space that accepts emotions in any way anyway. So I don't have to engage with any emotions. The engagement is there already. So I think that all goes towards step 11, and I figured that would be a good introduction to start this meeting. Thank you.
Well, Martin, yeah, that was a big slice to take a look at. But yeah, step 11 is to improve one's conscious contact with this, let's call it that God consciousness. So let's just say higher power consciousness, to improve that, let's say, connection or wiring. And they suggest through prayer and meditation. Yeah. So a lot of people, me included, felt like the only way I'm going to improve this conscious contact would be through prayer and meditation. That's not what it's saying. The point is to improve the conscious contact. Yeah, I think if I let me read it. and two of the suggestions are through prayer and meditation. But obviously, a lot of people know as soon as they start getting into sobriety and get established in there, nature does the trick. Swimming, not swimming, gazing, not gazing, taking a walk, petting a dog, a lot of things being of service seem to improve this conscious contact or this connection. Yeah. So a lot of people I knew when I was younger in AA got stuck because they had a nature of being very agitated, their head, and they couldn't sit still for a minute or two. So they figured they only had one option, which was prayer. And then a lot of people don't like prayer, but if you go to a meeting, you're going to say 2 prayers at the meeting. Usually there's a prayer in the beginning and there's a prayer at the end. So you may be saying, I don't pray, but you actually do if you go to the meeting. Yeah. So, but I think the goal in step 11 is to improve one's conscious contact. And the program has now put us into conscious contact with the higher power. Yeah. Before, we were unconscious of that contact because we were up the ass of self. I'm going to say this very importantly. Yeah. We're always in that connection of consciousness. We just didn't think so because we were up the ass of self. So we were incredibly self-conscious. That made us seemingly unconscious to the spirit, let's say. Yeah. Now, when that's changed or broken through, you realize you were never unconscious to the spirit. You're actually conscious as a spirit. Yeah. But when you were in up the ass of self, you thought, when you started to have it pointed out that you were unconscious to spirit. No, you can't be unconscious to spirit. You are spirit. Yeah, this is the point, literally, I feel. So, and this idea of fully being human, who says you're not? Yeah, in a way. You're fully being human, yet you're a spirit. But you're very clear the human isn't going to become a spirit. Yeah. Thing isn't going to become no thing. So you recognize that the spirit or the mental activity is what's moving through the body. Yeah. Most of us have been driven or guided by the mental activity. So we have been obsessed with the mental idea of self, and the problem resides in the mind. Yeah. So the problem, its activity, is usually conveyed to us through thought. Yeah. So it tells us, so through the thought, it plays God on us. And it tells you, like, when you wake up, oh, today's going to suck. It has no idea how the day's going to go, but it already prophesies that the day's going to suck. What is that but playing God? Yeah. Now, do you feel like you're being played by that thing that's playing God? Because I don't think you're doing it. I don't think you're the one that's playing God. I think something's playing God on us. Yeah, literally. And because that unsuspected inner resource of being spirit is unsuspected. Yeah, because we're looking from the mental state for spirit. And that's the blindness to the fact that you're spirit. We are looking through the mental state. We're relying on the mental state to lead us to spirit. That's why we're blind to being spirit. Yeah. It's already off because we think we have to become spiritual. You can't become what you already are. Yeah. So this whole idea the head has us as something else, and now we're going to try to become something else, which is spiritual, is the insanity of the head. Yeah, this is how it already wins before the race starts. It has you racing. That's the whole freaking point. Yeah. So who feels that they're fully human? The thing that takes itself to be a human? I would say you're fully human now at this very moment. You can't be more human than you seem to be at the moment, and it's because you're not a human. That's the great news. Yeah. So so yeah, we sought through prayer and meditation to do what? To improve our conscious contact, right? Doesn't it say that? So the point of step 11 isn't prayer and meditation. It's to improve one's conscious contact. It happens with service, happens with a lot of things. Yeah. And the more you become conscious of the conscious contact, the less formalized things have to be. Yeah. Basically, being you now becomes the highest form of maintenance of a spiritual condition, because you see being you is of a spiritual condition. Yeah. So all day your breathing in and out is maintaining the spiritual condition. Yeah. What? Yeah. If you feel like you need to do something, do it. I bet you if you feel like you need to do a practice, if you do the practice, it's going to lead you to not the need to do the practice. You may still do it. You may love it. You'll be in the habit of it, but there won't be this need that you have to do something. And if you don't do it, it ruins your whole day. Yeah. Haven't you seen that when you first started to meditate and pray or something? If you missed your prayer or meditation in the morning, you believed the whole day was going to suck. Wow, that's incredible to me. Yeah. So then now the spiritual condition becomes another form of bondage. Yeah. If you don't do it, you're fucked. Wow, that's a drag. So, yes. So step 11 is we seek through prayer and meditation, yeah, to improve our conscious contact. Because now, at this point, this is step 11, we've had a spiritual awakening. So we're now on the realm of God conscious instead of self-conscious. Yeah. And I like the idea we went through last week about taking the steps or working the steps. And so obviously, if we're working the steps, we're looking at the steps from the problem. Yeah. We are seemingly the carrier of the problem. So now it looks like we have to take it or do work or and stuff like that. And then after a period of time of working the steps, you notice the steps are working you. Yeah. So now you're noticing how the steps are looked at from the solution, which is a conveyor or a conduit. So through the steps, the higher power is communicating to you. It's changing you. Yeah. So now you start feeling the solution from the solution instead of the solution seen from the problem. Yeah. So solution seen from the problem, you sincerely take the position of the third step. Then getting established in that condition is you see the solution from the solution. Wow. Incredible. Yeah. And then the solution then the steps take you, and then you start living the steps. Now you're living the solution. You're not trying to live the solution as the problem. You're living the solution as the solution. Yeah. You've had a spiritual awakening. You've awakened to the unsuspected inner resource that you are being what you are hoped to find. You are of spirit. You now had a spiritual awakening, and now you take our agenda, if you want, which is help other people achieve the same condition and practice these principles in all your affairs. And if you can't, limit your affairs and maybe have a sponsor who can tell you when you're outmatched or not concerning some affairs. Yeah. Of course, you're probably going to do whatever you're going to do, but it doesn't mean you're not going to stay sober. You can stay sober and learn how to face life successfully by doing the same fucking thing and then seeing it doesn't work. Yeah. So I love that. And at this point, step 11, when you see it from the solution, you see there's many ways to improve the conscious contact. One of them is to be conscious. Yeah. Which you are now. Conscious of what? The solution instead of as the problem. Wow. So now it says it right in the book. You're going to move from self-conscious to God conscious in a sense. How do you move through the steps? And what's the point of the steps? Having a spiritual awakening. That's the point. Yeah. And then you adapt our agenda, whatever. Don't adapt the agenda. You'll probably will anyway. Yeah. And there you go. So having had that spiritual awakening, we've had a sufficient enough change that insanity that used to precede the first drink has been replaced with sanity. So you don't have to have an incredible, all these ways of stopping drinking. You just don't start drinking. What? Yeah, you don't start anymore. Far out. Now you're living the solution as the solution. Yeah. Yeah. You can watch it. If you stay sober, you're going to go through this transformation like we all have, from sincerely to established. Yeah. From hoping to faith. Yeah. From having old ideas and now being filled with new ideas. Yeah. Perhaps there is a better way, trust in the infinite rather than finite self. So tell the truth that Your head trusts finite self. It completely has faith in itself. It does. That's why you can't get the message, and that all that ability or non-ability to get the message is captured by self, can't get out of self. Self does not, self believes it can get out of self. Every time it shoots that coke, it believes it's going to get out of self. And it's incredibly flippin', super angry and surprised when it comes back up and the cops are there. Yeah. Does it learn? No, it doesn't. It just finds a way to still be the master, so to speak. I remember I would get arrested. This one time was really the woman I was with. I noticed if she drank vodka, I would end up in jail. Yeah. So I was on a little run for about 7 days, and I noticed she was drinking vodka. I just overrode that. And I came out of this dealer's house, and the police were there, and she was there with the police. So I get arrested, and I had warrants in Northern California, and they brought me to San Francisco, where I was for that day, but I got shipped to Santa Rita, which was in the East Bay. And Santa Rita is one scary freaking place, really scary. And I was super afraid of what was going to happen when I went and met the mass population. So I got there really late at night, and I was really, really flipping out. And then she got me out. She bailed me out. Yeah. Did I change anything? No. I had her bring a cigar tin with a syringe, 2 of them, and I shot right in the fucking parking lot. Yeah. Only to find myself in jail the next week. Yeah. There was no learning. I had hit my ceiling. Self can't get out of self, yet it kept hitting the door. You know what I mean? You can tell it, no, it's pull, not push, but it's just going to keep fucking pushing. That's, I humbly believe it. So, uh, why not, this is the easier, softer way, literally. Yeah. So, yeah. So 11, step 11, seek through, prayer and meditation to improve one's conscious contact. I think that's what it says. Yeah. Yeah. So you could seek through 1,000 things to improve one's conscious contact. Yeah. So I hope when you're established in this, you're going to see that basically all day is improving one's conscious contact because you've been aware of being conscious all day. Just the awareness of being conscious is the improving of one's conscious contact when you were completely unconscious. So, yeah, I think that caught that. And then the other stuff of non-duality, uh, this is just an idea that a lot of people run into after they get established in recovery, and it sort of dovetails perfectly with the foreign nature of what has defeated us. And in that case, non-duality presents the idea that there is no thing called self, so to speak. Yeah, you may be uh, an activity of selfing, but there is no self. Or in Buddhism, they call it anatta, non-self. Yeah, there's no self. So they go beautifully hand in hand, because the real solution to the being defeated by self would be there isn't one. And part of the way we were constantly defeated by we took there is one. So that which has defeated us, we were taking to be, which doesn't lead to a healthy, optimistic view of not being defeated. So non-duality is a beautiful illumination of what the path of recovery offers. Yeah, it can illuminate the path. It's not a replacement of the path of recovery. It illuminates the path of recovery. Yeah, quite well. I mean, I've been driving an old Prius, and then we got a newer car, and I was thinking I was gonna need glasses. I couldn't see well at night. It was the fucking headlights. The headlights sucked. They were I got a car that had these new ones. It was that simple. I was ready to get a whole new thing. I don't need glasses. I needed a new headlight. Exactly. Yes? Yeah. That's what the spiritual awakening is. You get better headlights so you can see shit that's in front of you. Yeah, you can see blue is blue and red is red instead of driving off the cliff. You'll be able to read the sign. Isn't this familiar? Yes. You really want to drive off the cliff again? This will be the 80th time. So, yeah. Step 11, prayer through meditation. They're beautiful. Prayer, I did the serenity prayer quite a lot the first few years. I think it's one of the most sublime, succinct, beautiful, super light package. It covers everything. Yeah. Please give me the courage to face the things I can change, to be able to surrender that which I can't change, and the wisdom to know the difference is really the key. Yeah. The wisdom to know the difference is what I believe the program AA will bring into that situation of, the strength or the surrender, the courage or the surrender, which is which at the right time. I think the wisdom of recovery allows that. Yeah. So, all right.
Thank you.
Anyone? Hmm?
No hands up so far. If anyone has a question, feel free to raise your hand or just come in.
And if you're new, there's tons of forms of meditation you can try. There's Zen, there's Vipassana, there's different kinds, and find something that may work for you. If you're feeling like it's paramount that that agitated state gets calmed down a little. Yeah, it's also good for blood pressure and stuff. Yeah, it makes your complexion rosier. If you throw vanity in, we'll all be buying a cushion, a meditation cushion, for sure. Oh yeah, it's going to give you a nice rosy look. You get that loving gaze finally. Yeah. You may find the love of your life on the cushion next to you. You never know.
We have a hand up from Rico.
Oh, Rico.
Good morning, good afternoon, family and friends. Thank you for allowing me to be here with you. I send you love and life from my heart to yours on this wondrous day. Paul, thank you so much. Good to see you. I that prayer and meditation thing, I was stuck on that for a long time because I came here no God baby. So prayer and meditation was foreign to me. I came in here like Lonnie Launchpad, Billy Blastoff. So there was no sitting still. Sitting still was just out of the picture. Forget about it. And but the fellowship, not the program, the fellowship kept focusing on prayer and meditation, prayer and meditation. Eventually, I stuck around long enough to get a little bit in the prayer and meditation. And I'm so glad you pointed out that step 11 is totally about conscious context. It's just prayer and meditation being something you can start with. And after I started with that and stayed with it and fell in love with it, some other things started happening in my life that created conscious contact and had nothing to do with prayer and meditation. For me, it was a good beginning, but that's not the whole deal. I work with a lot of men and they think, no, that's the whole deal. No, that's not the whole deal. That's the starter kit. Let's get to the next stop. And conscious contact now is all the time.
Mm.
I still do prayer and meditation, but that's not my sole vehicle. That's one way, but I'm conscious contact whether I'm riding my bike, talking to you, walking down the street. But I've been doing it for a few summers. It works like that. But I just wanted to share with you that you hit it on the head and said, prayer and meditation is one way. And it took me years to find out that that was one way. There were many other avenues that I was closed off to because I got stuck on that prayer and meditation. So when I read step 11, I'm thinking I stop at prayer and meditation and I forget all about conscious contact, the goal. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you and thank you for pointing that out. Appreciate you. Good to see you, Paul.
Yeah,
And
thank
also,
you.
I don't care what they say about you, man. I love you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this is just an opinion, but from hindsight, really, a lot of the beginning of the program, we're convincing the problem that it's getting better. Yes. And so you have to, you have to do something to convince the head that you're getting ready or you're open to be changed. Yes. And so a lot of the things we do is to get acknowledgement from that which is playing God to give us a fucking break. Yeah. But remember, there is a new employer, being all powerful. It's going to take care of us. And it's basically only two requirements. Stay close to it, which you can't be far from everywhere. And then performance works well. If you're trying to figure what is its works, just maybe follow the suggestions of AA and how to perform in a community. Yeah. And there you go. You've fulfilled your end of the contract. Sit back and observe the expressions of the higher power fulfilling its part of the contract. Yes. And after a while, you won't need to convince yourself that which you're not to allow the permission of the power's effect. You'll just be at the power's effect. Yeah. Yeah, and it may tell you there's very little to do today concerning the conscious contact. I don't know. When you start listening to that station, it's a completely different the solution doesn't have the same form of the problem. It doesn't. It's not about having to do yourself out of shit and all this. It isn't. It'll happen automatically without any thought or effort on your part. You will be placed in a position of neutrality. You will realize the problem does not exist for you. That's not from the problem. That's from the solution. Yeah. That's solution language, not problem language. Problem language would be, I got the solution, but if I've got to do tons of shit. No, the solution tells you this happened automatically without any of your thought or effort, without any of your thought or effort. So at that point, the thought and effort would be a disservice. Yeah. You've been placed in a position of neutrality. Does it say you start pumping in new power? No, it says you'll feel new power flow in. It doesn't say you start pumping in the new power. Yeah, you're not I'm pumping it. No. You just observe new power flowing in. You observe the conscious presence, your sense of presence. You observe that, hey, I'm starting to face life successfully instead of avoiding everything at all costs. Yeah. You observe all this. Yeah. You don't do it. You see it. Yeah. Isn't that the way? Isn't that the solution way? Isn't that the spiritual way? To be under an effect, not be the cause of an effect, but to be under an effect by another cause. That other cause may be us, but let's not jump there. Let's just say spirit or higher power. Yeah. So I feel when you're lined up that way, maybe for other people, it works to be the doer and the director. It didn't work with me. Yeah. I had to admit that I was outmatched. And by admitting I was outmatched, and getting reprieve from all the slings and arrow from the fucking thing that was playing God when I admit I'm outmatched, it became the solution. I admit I was powerless and I started to feel power. I mean, seriously, I'm a perfect recovery baby. All the way. I do not believe this becomes a self-help program at any point. I think it's a reliance on a higher power program. Yeah, that's it, all the way. Yeah. And just like I don't believe I'm causing the effects of the higher power, I definitely don't believe I was the cause of the effects of the lower power. You are not fucking pinning in this court, in this world, I'm convicted, but in my heart, I'm not convicted. I do not believe I did the shit I did while under the influence. I do not believe I chose to do that. I do not believe it. There's no way I chose to get on all fours and look through someone else's rug to see if there was any cocaine in there. There's no fucking way. Yeah. I was driven to get on the all fours. And I had been driven constantly for fucking years without knowing it. And I was taking every ticket as the driver and ripping it up and then trying to avoid at all costs, which got me really jacked up by going to jail. Because you know what? If you don't go to a court date, you're going to have a bench warrant. And the next time with the bench warrant, you go right to jail. Yeah. I found out the hard way. This is how this head worked in the problem. I had a court date. I was upset. I was worried about going to court because a lot of times when I went to court, I inevitably went to jail. So I didn't want to go to jail. That was the fear. Yeah. So here is the head. The head is managing my life. I bring, oh, great one. I have a huge amount of fear about going to jail. And I feel if I go to court, that's going to happen. Oh, my one. Just don't go to court. Okay, wow, incredible solution. September 8th came along. All those other people were sweating it out. I was sitting there drinking beer and shit. Hey, everything's fucking great. It worked. Fears removed. Then about September 11th, I'm driving. I get pulled over by the cops. The cop goes back to his car. He's reading like a fucking novel. I don't know. It took him so long. Comes over to my window. And when you hear this, you're going to jail. He says, Mr. Hedderman, will you please step out of the car? I got out of the car and I had a broken taillight or something. What did I do? What did I do? You have a bench warrant out for your arrest. You didn't go to court September 6th. Ammo, San Francisco jail. Get out, end up relying on the same fucking thing. Expecting different results, which is insanity. Yeah. And that insanity was like the cumulus cloud before the first drink. It was ready to fucking explode at any moment. And then I try to escape by getting loaded for a minute or two. Yeah. And then it set the whole set of circumstances that brought me misfortune I feel I didn't deserve. Yet I kept relying on that which had proven to be completely unreliable. It's funny now. It wasn't funny then. Yeah, so.
Hey, Paul, I think, is it Lena or Lina had a hand up?
Oh, yeah, come on in. Yes.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm backing up and before you started about talking about jail, how finding the solution from the solution, not from the problem.
Yes.
I've noticed at work that I'm able to do my tasks at like half of the time compared to before. So I have a special deal with my employer that I can work in the morning and then I can go home and work from my home office from lunch. But it's like I do it I don't understand how I do it, but I'm already done. So then that means it's super strange. But I get the time to have like hanging out with my kids for 2 or 3 hours. Okay, don't tell anyone. Like 3 hours every afternoon before making dinner. And I'm like, okay, I must do something wrong. Like how can I do 8-hour work in 5 hours in the morning and then like 1 hour in the afternoon, and it's already done, and I'm like, okay, they're gonna find out, and instead I don't know how to react, and I'm like, looking with colleagues, am I doing a bad job? They're like, what are you talking about? And then I get a promotion, and I'm like, oh, thanks.
Yes.
So it's like I do it, but I have no idea how.
Great. Great. I think the appropriate reaction is gratitude.
Thank you. Exactly.
Yes. See, the head wants it.
That is what you're talking about.
The head is exactly. The head is life can be configured in a completely different way than the head expects it to be. And this is why we're going to have a new attitude and a new outlook. It's not a rehabbed old attitude. It's a new one and a new freedom and a new happiness. And you're seeing it in how you can do your work and have plenty of time for your kids. It's not one or the other. It's more inclusive instead of exclusive.
And I don't get tired anymore.
There you go. Yes.
I used to do things and like, oh, pop, pop.
Yeah, you're not getting weighed down by thoughts. Yes.
No.
Yes. Remember when you were a kid, you just run in a room, and then one day you ran in the room and it was accompanied by thought, and then you started to feel a little uncomfortable and everything, and then the thought system just started like become a weather front that we lived under. Yeah. And when we're heavy, it's usually not for any other reason but by the fucking heaviness of to listening to that thought system. Yeah. Me, my, this, that. Yes. Yeah, you want to argue with your boss. Your boss is thinking you're doing a great job, but you want to say you're not because you're doing this. Just, it's insane. Yeah.
I didn't tell him. I just said thank you.
Didn't you have that with when you met somebody and they liked you, and then you were starting to really like them, and you would not believe they liked you? They'd start to have to try to prove it, like you had a test every day, because you were believing in your head, "Who I am not likable." It's insane.
I just convinced them that they don't like me. So
Yes, the head, and we have faith in the head, and we live as if it's true. Yeah, not understanding that life is still offering us so many incredible possibilities, but in a sense, being self-centered, we say no. It's called contempt prior to investigation. Yeah, whatever. But thank you. That's great that you're seeing results, and just honor them as you just did, and there'll be more you'll notice. Yeah. Yeah, perhaps there is a better way.
instead of
Present
distrusting,
yourself as a better
yes.
way.
Instead of distrusting that I'm not worthy or whatever, just enjoy it.
Yes, why not?
Yes.
Yes, this is the thing. Yeah. So many people are in a holding pattern. Everything in their life is based on permission. And the permission is withheld by this extortion racket of the head, and then they have to jump through certain hoops to get permission, and the hoops always change. Yeah. And basically you live a life of withholding. And to me, that's incredibly selfish. Yeah. Life may need you. Yeah. And then there's this obstinate withholding because your head knows better and it doesn't. Yeah. Yes.
Say again.
Your head knows better and it doesn't.
I don't understand.
That's playing God. It's playing God. It says you're not lovable. So when opportunities to be loved occur, they're bound to fail because of that faith in you're not lovable. Is it true that you're not lovable? No. But do you believe it's true? Yes. That's faith. Yeah. Faith being misdirected. Give that faith to the higher power and it will enrich your day. Give that faith to the head, it will enslave you in the day. There you go. It's the same energy. You are faith in a sense, and your faith is going to manifest by the vehicle you put in. And AA says there's two vehicles you can put the faith in in the infinite or the finite self. There you go. And you can tell where your faith is by the effects. You'll see it. Yeah, you will see it, especially when you have you've had a free sample of another option. When you have felt that new power flow in, you can start noticing the configuration of the old power. Yes. Yeah. And this is a better way, trusting the infinite rather than finite self. That's what we are. We are the trust, either in the infinite or the finite self. Yeah. We have enough examples of what it looks like in the finite self, and you just demonstrated an example what it looks like in the infinite. Yeah. There you go. Finite self, it's either the kids or the job. Infinite, the kids and the job. Yes. It's just, you'll have so many of these samples. It happens. It's just unbelievable. The head is very exclusive. The spirit's very inclusive. Yeah. It can be a win-win. It's not a win-lose all the time. It could be a win-win. Yeah. And it's so easy to get used to it because you're really built for to be directed by the higher power. You're not built to be directed by self. We just respond better under the higher power. Yeah, we do. Yeah. I watch people in these Zooms all day. I have. And some people I met, their face would be in a certain structure when they first started. And then after the couple of months, I saw their whole face reconfigure because this base of anxiety got lifted, and they were awash in the permission of being okay. It's fucking great. We're really in the process of leaving the bondage of self and be freed in spirit, so to speak. Yeah. The drinking and the drugs play an incredible role to a point, and then it's all that. It doesn't say please relieve me of vodka and beer. It says please relieve us of the bondage of self. This is the point, literally. Yeah. And the bondage of self you've just expressed in your share, and freedom from the bondage of self you've just expressed. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, Paul, knowing that self can't get out of self, that statement takes on a new meaning about being free from the bondage of self, because you're going to the infinite to get free and not self to get free. So you give me a brand new meaning on being relieved of the bondage of self, which I've said for years, but the meaning is different now.
Right. Right. Well, that's the thing. Certain meanings are certain meanings allow the key to turn easier, or in another way where when the door opens you see something new. Yeah. So I find understanding very powerful, because in my own life, when I went to Joe and Charlie's big book seminars, I really understood a whole lot differently the book than I had before I went to that seminar. They just completely revolutionized the understanding I had. Yeah. And I was with all these people that were really excited about recovery, and it was contagious. And it was really it was like a booster rocket the first few years. It really was. I couldn't believe it. And then to understand that the nature of what has defeated us is foreign to us gives us the possibility of being free from it. Yeah. It's the primary possibility that's brought about seeing that the nature of what has defeated you is foreign. It's the primary possibility that becomes available. You can be free from it. Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. Not free as it, because most of us have tried that. We've tried to be free as self. We have. Yeah. And we may be being used to do just that right now. But the understanding of self is that it's foreign to us. Yeah. You're listening to it. You're not that which is talking to you. The problem is talking to you. We're listening to it. We're not talking. The talking in the head isn't you. You're the audience the talking in the head is broadcast to. Yeah. Why do you, what, don't you notice that if you're not drinking, it tries to convince you to have a drink for maybe 30 minutes? If it was you, it would just have a drink. Yeah. It needs to get your consent to have a drink. It's talking to us all day. Why do you think you're hearing stuff in your head? It's a broadcast. It's a podcast. You're the audience. You and I are the audience. Yeah. If you were the doer, you would be defined by doing. We're mostly defined by thinking. Yes. And the thinking is where the problem resides. It's in the mind. So the problem delivers its directives to us through thought and through interpreting situations and feelings. And it's telling us shit that isn't actually true. Yeah. But if we believe it, we make it seemingly true. Just like it says in the beginning, we are 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. When we're out there, it's a hopeless state of mind and body, but it was only seemingly hopeless. It appeared to be true to us. The head is appearing to be true to us. It's describing us today, our relations, our future, our past. Yeah. And we're sitting there, most of us, without knowing it, taking it to be an exact narration of our life. It isn't. We're like in the back seat and someone in the front seat is telling us how the fucking trip's going. There's another possibility. You could listen to something else. It may not come through thought. Like it says, it will come from the hunch or this hit of intuition. But silence speaks louder than anything that's ever said. And spirit speaks through silence. Yeah. And now you have a pause between you believe the thoughts, and that's pledging allegiance to the silence. Yes. And then the silence directs you through the fucking thoughts. Yeah. So the thought is turn right, you go straight. The thought is this is going to kill me. You live on. Yeah. And you break through these fucking made up barriers. The thoughts had us. It's like it's cage. Yeah. It's had us fenced in. But if you move through the fence, it wasn't a fence. But we've been living as if it's a fence. Yeah. How do you learn you can face life successfully? By facing life. Were you facing life drinking and using? No, I wasn't. I wasn't facing life. How can you learn how to? I learned I could face life successfully because I started facing life. Basically, I was in the pre of facing life because my head told me it's not going to be successful. So don't face life. And I had faith in that. So I avoided fucking everything. And those avoidances got me, jackpotted me in a lot of situations, tons of them. Yeah. Avoiding court dates, avoiding hospital visits, avoiding this, avoiding that. Yeah. Because I was afraid, my head had me believing that life, I was not going to face life successfully. So I'm not going to face it. Yes. Yes or no? Wasn't that faith in self? I wasn't like that when I was 3 or 4 years old. I rushed out the back door. I didn't stop and was paralyzed of, I'm not going to face the day of playing successfully. No, fuck it. I wasn't driven by thoughts at that point. That happened when the brain developed. Yes. And I had great faith in the head. And I I became an example of the consequences of just that, just like all of us are to other alcoholics and addicts. Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Once you start facing life successfully, I mean, facing life, you realize you can do it successfully. Did you believe you could? Obviously not. Isn't that faith? Yes. Isn't that what? Trusting the finite? Yes. Yeah, we have all the examples of it. We've lived under this tyranny of self, and now we're living under the freedom of the higher power. Yeah. Yes. All right. Anyone else?
Mickey had her hand
Hold the
up.
hand up so long, she put it down.
What's up in there? You know, this freedom is all described in our 11th step promises. They say, as we go through the day, we pause when agitated or doubtful and ask for the right thought or action. We constantly remind ourselves we are no longer running the show, humbly saying to ourselves many times each day, "Thy will be done." We are then in much less danger of excitement, fear, anger, worry, self-pity, or foolish decisions. We become much more efficient. Lena was just describing that. We do not tire so easily, for we are not burning up energy foolishly as we did when we were trying to arrange life to suit ourselves. It works. It really does.
Yes. There you go. Yes, it works. It really does.
All of our promises, which we have promises not just in the 9-step promises, we have promises all throughout the book. And all of our promises give us that picture of what truly is, of what this freedom from the bondage of self is.
Yes. And the suggestions of stopping a lot, those things become ingrained in you. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to be stopping every second. And it's not like hoping thy will be done in the next moment in the future, but you observe thy will is done. And
exactly. This is our new design of living.
Yeah. So the new design for living, you're not painting the wall over and over and over again. Yes. Yes. The color seeps in at one point and you don't paint as much. Yeah. Yes. Yes. This is for when we're in this new process. It doesn't stay that way because it becomes ingrained in you. You're in the habit of being sober, and instead of trying to bring those things about that was just said, you're living in them. Yeah. Yes. So that's that was great. Thank you. Hey, I got to stop today at 11:30. I have I got to do something.
Finally, we got it in there. And I'm going.
Anyone else?
I
I'm not
believe
calling him. I didn't see Mike, so I just happened to see her hand up.
So we're at nobody else, honey?
Paul, I just wanted to say thank you, because when I hear the message coming through, it feels like a lullaby for the mind. It's like, oh, it's so soothing. It feels like a lullaby that in the heart and mind feels lined up. And it's true.
Well, great, honey. Yeah. Well, it's gonna play that lullaby for you. Yeah. Thank you. Well, let's say start saying goodbye. Mickey. Thank you. Oh, Martin, thank you very much, Martin. Always a pleasure to see you. I hope we hit some of this stuff. We got Carol and Kerry. There they are. They're going to start a new show on Zen Bit Slap, the morning show by Carol and Kerry. Yeah. Axel, it's coming in January 2025. Axel, nice to see you. Miss Folkman, always a pleasure. We have iPhone 25 something. Nice to see you there. Rick Rowe, as always. Kathy in Cleveland, nice day, 70 something. Terry in Camarillo. We got Lena. Thank you, Lena, for the share. Yes, you're Michael Stacy, as always. Rico, man of his word. We got Maria from Spain. Nice to see you, Maria. Yeah. Roman Mueller in Germany. Diona, I hope taking care of yourself. She's in a hospital show, I think. Yeah. Jeffrey, Seattle, delivering eyes and ears. That's pretty good. David S. in South Carolina. Nice to see you, David, again. James Lebowski. Joseph. Tom L. Mike M. in LA. Tom L. Nice to see you. I think I can't get to the other page, but hey, thank you so much. We'll be here today at 4:30 Pacific time for under the banner of non-duality. And if you're new here, if you go to Zen Bit Slap event page, if you're interested in any of the Zooms, they have the same link and no password to all the meetings. So we're going to have we're not going anywhere, I don't think. So the schedule should be regular for a little while. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Paul.
Thanks, Paul.